For Off the Block, I'm Vinny Lips, and we are now joined by Sam Swiskey. We know him as the Princeton men's volleyball head coach. However, he is also the head coach of the U.S. Boys Youth National Team. They're up in Lake Placid right now, getting ready for the U19 World Championships. And Coach, I know you guys have been up there in the gym, trying to whittle down that roster. How intense has these last few days been?
It's been pretty intense. It's an interesting sort of juxtaposition. The setting up here is so serene. It's beautiful and so calm and quiet. And then you head in the gym, and it gets pretty competitive. Because the guys want to make this team, and they all want to travel to Bahrain to represent our country. So I've just been really proud of the guys. I think they've done a great job of really putting the team first. We talked a lot about supporting your teammates, and one of the attributes that we're looking for first and foremost is guys that can make the person next to them better. And so you're seeing guys get after it in the gym, but also really be supportive and help everyone next to each other try to be better. So it's been a really good environment. We've seen some really good leadership from a lot of different guys. Actually, a couple of the guys organized some cohesion meetings, is what they're calling it, at night, and breaking up into smaller groups and just talking about different goals and different thoughts and stuff like that. Just having a really player-run meeting. So that's been really exciting too. And it is getting down to cut time in the next couple of days, and then certainly people know that, and the stress of that is hard to avoid. But the guys done a really good job of just putting the team first and working hard, and it's been a pretty cool experience so far.
Yeah. Now, not only are you making cuts, but a couple days from now, you guys are going to be competing in the World Championships. I want to ask you, as a coach, when you're doing these types of camps, how much time do you spend just doing the technical skill drills and actually spending time putting in a system?
Well, it's an interesting question, and there's different phases, and we try to do a little bit different, a little bit of everything as we go. And so obviously the first phase, is a lot of data acquisition, and we're trying to get a ton of numbers on the guys. And so when we do make the final selections and cuts, we have some data to back up our decisions. But in that, we're teaching and trying to, reform some of the technique. The Europeans playing with this Mikasa blue and yellow ball float serve a lot, and so we've been working a lot on float serve perception and sort of cleaning up some of the technique and trying to get that going, and putting in some quick big systems offensively and some defensive stuff, but little by little, and I think Florida helps. We were with a bunch of these guys in Florida. We put some more stuff in place now. But then certainly once the team gets whittled down to its sort of final 12, that's when some of the more specific systems come in, because some of those are personnel driven. You have an athlete like Jalen Jasper, for example, who's played with us in Cuba. He's a fantastic athlete. We can do some different things just because of his physicality. He's touching nearly 12 feet, and did a great job for us in Cuba last year, and hopefully will do a good job for us again.
Yeah, Coach, I know that we haven't made any roster decisions yet, but overall, seeing all your players in the gym, what do you feel is going to be the strength of this team going into Bahrain?
Honestly, I honestly feel like it's going to be the ability for us to play together. This core group that was in Cuba that is back here, and a lot of these guys that work Florida, now the guys here have sort of bought into this team-first mentality. I think just supporting one another. Bahrain it's a long way away, and I think we're going to be out of our comfort zone and uncomfortable, and the more we can support one another, I think that's going to help a lot. In terms of on-the-court stuff, we've talked a lot about, how the system plays. I mean, we would love to be in system. We focused a lot on service C, but we kind of know the reality of it. We're going to have non-setters having to step in and set, and we have to play some smart balls off the block and cover the ball. And so we put a premium on that and tried to hold each other accountable for that. So hopefully that can come into play as well, because I don't think it's going to be a perfect pass, every stage of the way. So we're just trying to game plan for the out-of-system stuff.
Yeah. And Coach, once again, obviously the team has not been finalized. You guys are still looking at all the data, making all the decisions, but has there been one or two players who you've just been surprised with their overall improvement since last year?
Yeah, I would, I mentioned Jalen earlier. I mean, I think he certainly was our go-to player in Cuba last year, and, his physicality is something that's very unique. But he's really improved and matured and is just a lot more poised and calm and relaxed. I think that's added a nice sort of calming sense to the team. Other than that, I think both liberos that we have here, Thomas Nelson and Parker Makesh, have stood out in the sense that, again, they've both improved dramatically since last year. So that's been a nice thing, and that battle is neck and neck, and probably going to come down to the wire when we make the cuts in the next couple of days. So, pleased with those guys, and just everyone really has just come a long way. I think, for the guys who have played another year up in 18s, a lot of these younger guys are playing 18s. It's just, you can see making better decisions and just playing better high-level volleyball, which is great.
And with going and talking about that, obviously after, you're done here, a lot of these players, whether it's this fall or, 2 years from now, are going to be hitting the college campuses and playing in college men's volleyball, most likely. How excited should college men's volleyball fans feel about this crop of kids coming up?
Pretty excited. I think I'll have to give credit to a lot of the club coaches that these guys come from, but, club coaches are training, I think, more of the nuances of the game. Some of these guys are just swiping the ball off the block and just, playing the smaller, finer points of the game at an earlier level. So I think, I'm excited. I know a lot of these guys, most of these guys, I think, have verbally committed to a lot of, exciting schools, and the rest will surely do so, soon. It's going to be fun. College volleyball is heading in a good direction, and I think these guys are going to add to their programs in a lot of great ways.
Coach, a final question, we'll let you go on this. Talking with Coach Jay Hossig during the U21 World Championships, not an excuse, but just a simple fact of him saying, a lot of these teams, especially in Europe, they play together year-round, and a little bit of a disadvantage for the U.S. I want to ask, at the U19 level, is that similar where you're going to be going up against teams, who have been together for a little bit longer, and do you feel that's a disadvantage for you guys?
I don't know. I think it's really interesting the way you frame things and talk about things can sometimes be like a self-fulfilling prophecy in some ways. And I was actually talking to Dan Friend last night. I was an assistant under him for 2 years with the junior team, and it's funny, we spent a lot of time with this team talking about the ball. It's a different ball, it's a hard ball to pass, and we've worked on it, made it a focal point, which has been good because we focused on it, but it also sort of drew attention to the fact that the ball is hard to pass. And, it's interesting, I was sort of reminiscing with Dan 2 years ago with the junior team. We never talked about the ball. We just went out and trained and passed it, and we never thought about it. So, is there some validity to Jay's comment? Absolutely. I think we're going to try to not really focus on it and just focus on us and just play hard and do the best we can. I don't really have a great scope of the talent level that we're about to face from a lot of these teams. I know our dad volley guy made some backroom deals and has some film he's going to get when he gets over there and make some trades. But right now we're trying to stay process-oriented, focused on us, and be the best team we can be. And at the end of the day, I think that's going to bear the most fruit for us, moving